all of you. We must give our gratitude to the Honorable Minister of Transport, Government of West Bengal, for sparing his valuable time for all of us, sir. So we are doing a small workshop today on the Vision 2030 that you had committed at Copenhagen a few years back, wherein we are planning to accelerate Calcutta's transport system into a zero polluting transport system, sir. So we've had sessions on various aspects like EV and CNG, sir. We can start with 5 good news from your side, sir. Firstly, sir, the electric buses that we are getting under your leadership, sir. Secondly, under your leadership, we've also started converting old buses into CNG. Thirdly, sir, we are also in touch with trolley bus manufacturers for upgrading our tramway system. Fourthly, sir, we are in touch with Garden Reach for electric ferries. And fifthly, sir, recently the Power Department has expressed interest of putting solar panels on the rooftop of all our depots, sir. With this, I'd request Mr. Saxena to kindly summarize the panel discussion and welcome the Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much. I'm Saxena here on your right-hand side. First of all, sincere appreciation and gratitude to you for sparing your valuable time. I think we are really honored to have you. And the panel discussion, what we had today, I think it had the representatives from the WBTC, the representative from Tata's, representative from Ashok Leyland, and the representative from CESL. She is very much there, and our partners, Mr. Sturle from Green Start Norway, who joined online. I think this was a panel wherein we could not only understand the plans which the State Transport Corporation has of today, where they are today and where they want to be, number one. And number two, we could also see that what are the developments which are taking place in terms of technology. And we were very happy to see that the industry is very well prepared and taking all the necessary steps to meet the requirements which are there. I think these are, I will have to summarize only in those points, but then I think the most important point what we note about is that there's a good amount of awareness in regard to need for accelerating to the net zero in the public transportation system, including the vice chairman of the WPDC. He told about the important aspect of emissions which are there, and one needs to handle them, address them. I think it's extremely important that all concerned are very much aware of this, and the department is fully aware of that. Second is the appreciation of issues and challenges. The presentation made by the State Transport Corporation showed the issues and challenges which are there, congestion in the routes which is there, the socio-economic conditions which are there, the feasibility of the routes which can be electrified, etc., which is there. That is what is the second important point we noted about. Third is, I think there is an aspiration to bring the change. The EV policy of the 2021 brought out by the state of West Bengal. I think this is certainly a very, very big step and a step in the right direction, which I think makes it very, very conducive for all concerned to move forward for the clean transportation in the public transportation systems. Fourthly, we also saw that the state government is taking all the necessary steps. The action-oriented approaches there, they are leapfrogging from about 80 buses, electric buses, which are today to about 1118. The tenders are already there and the various initiatives are being taken. Then we also understood from CESL that largest tender has been done, out of which the rollout will be there. And the first bus from that tender may be there by the end of this year, and the last of that fleet may be by the end of 2024. So the action will be very much there on the ground. So the awareness, appreciation, aspiration, and actions are very much there. And we see that various modes of technologies are being considered, duly considered, keeping in mind the residual life of the existing technologies which are there, the efficiency, environmental impact, congestion, and the social impact. All of them are very, very important points and steps which are there. The other point which we try to find out about is that as far as few important points are there in the terms of electric mobility. I think range anxiety is the most important thing. How long the bus will run after a single charge. And we heard from the representatives here that all the steps are being taken so that the higher capacity charges are being developed. The number of seats in the buses are being increased so that the revenue per trip increases at the same cost. And then I think the charging chain will also reduce. And that is very, very important from the consumer perspective, that he will not have the range anxiety in mind, and the cost will also be there less. And when we look at the total cost of ownership, which is the most important aspect, the procurement cost as well as the operational cost, I think from that consideration, the electric buses appear to be a very good proposition in the times to come. We also heard about the business models which need to be evolved. Right now there is subsidy, and I think gradually one has to be moving to a model where the subsidy can be gradually phased out, and the model is self-sustainable without any sustainability. The production-linked incentive schemes which are there will certainly set up the pace for domestic manufacturing, and I think the import substitution, import reduction, and maybe at some point of time we may not be dependent on import. That is what is the important thing which we noted about. Then on the CNG side, it came out that the emissions, CO2 emissions in its class of vehicles are certainly lowest among the petrol and diesel vehicles. The reduction in production cost is there. The operation cost is also very low. So though CNG is considered to be one of the fossil fuels, but I think it is lowest among the category. Hydrogen is emerging as one of the new technologies, which is certainly very, very important. And I think we saw the experience of our Norwegian partner, what they are doing about, and they have a similar experience what they have in India. Like they have a long coastline, and similarly Calcutta has the ferries which are there. So they are very hopeful, and I think they are very sort of confident about extending their support technically or whatever is required in those terms. And they are also going to commission a hydrogen ferry this year at some place in the world. So I think this is all what I could say about, and I think the webinar or the event, whatever we call it today, I think gave a lot of hope to all of us that we are on track. We could be on track. We could be achieving what is required to be achieved, and the goals set by the government of West Bengal, the state power department, and the state transport corporation could be pursued in the right earnest if we collectively make all the efforts and take feedback, inputs, and suggestions from the department. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Saxena to please welcome the guests here. Moving ahead, I would like to request the Principal Secretary, Transport Government of West Bengal, Sir Rajesh Kumar Sinha, IAS, to give the special address, please.
Thanks, Rajan. Honorable MIC, we have Honorable Vice Chairman of West Bengal Transport Corporation. We have MD of EESL and other distinguished guests. I've already spoken to all of you in the first half of the session when it started. I have just a few points to add. Our aim is to reduce the carbon emission in transportation to zero, but this cannot be achieved in a 0-1 kind of manner, in a binary manner. We'll have to go slowly and reduce it. So morning I have spoken that we have already started 80 electric vehicles in our city. 50 more are in the stage of addition, and about 1180 is in the stage of signing the agreement. So within next 2 to 3 years, we are going to have about 1500 vehicles running in our state. Besides, the private sector is also taking vehicles, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, and even the buses on lease or otherwise to introduce in the city as public transportation. At the same time, we are trying to introduce non-conventional fossil fuel engines, such as CNG buses. We have taken up a program of converting about 600 buses to CNG in this year itself. So work has started and it is on course, and we expect that these CNG buses will be achieving the reduction of the target of reduction of carbon emission to a great extent. As per our honorable minister's target set for us, he has said that by 2030, all STU buses will be electric buses. And before that, even within the next 3-4 years, we'll convert to electric buses in our WETC, West Bengal Transport Corporation, which runs buses in Calcutta. And for SBSTC and NVSTC, we'll mostly convert to CNG buses. So long distance buses will be CNG, and electric buses will be run in the city of Calcutta, where the emission problem is at the most. Now, with the introduction of long distance or long range electric buses, we can also think about introducing electric buses in our inter-district transport from here to Siliguri, here to Malda, here to Asansol and things like that. Because the range has now started going up to 350 kilometers per charge. This is one more addition that we can make. On the policy level, we have already given waiver of registration fee, permit fee, and the tax revenue, the road tax on the electric and CNG vehicles for next 2 years. So that is going to give a big push to the entire uh, electric vehicle or CNG vehicle introduction in our state. We are aware that the biggest bottleneck of converting to electricity or electric vehicles is the availability of batteries. Since India is not the producer of most of the batteries, and the raw material is also not available in our country. We are at the receiving end, so we have to depend mostly on the Chinese manufacturers as well as European manufacturers. As soon as we get some battery manufacturing units here, our costs are going to come down, and I believe the electric vehicles will become more affordable and acceptable to public at large. For introduction of electric vehicles, we need to have the charging infrastructure in place, which we are trying. Honorable Minister has already held meetings with the various municipal corporations and the power department. And we are trying to give an environment in which people who want to come up with electric vehicles, those who want to introduce electric vehicles, don't feel threatened or don't feel nervous because of not availability of charging stations or because of the problems in movement of vehicles from one place to the other. So at the same time, once the umbrella comes up, the umbrella of the environment that we are going to build up, I believe that due to the cost increase in the fossil fuels, the desire for converting to or transforming to electric vehicles will come from within by the users of electric vehicles, users of vehicles as such, the consumers as well as the transporters. One thing Rajan missed in the beginning is that our state, under the leadership of our present honorable minister, has been adjudged the best governed state under transport category by the Scotch Awards team recently, and we are going to receive that award on 18th of this month. So I believe that under the dynamic leadership of our honorable minister, we'll continue to work such wonders, and we'll definitely put ourselves on this course of reducing carbon emission in transportation sector altogether, and ultimately reach the zero emission goal that we have set for ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Well, sir, to realize the dream of Vision 2030, wherein Calcutta will have environment-friendly transportation today, we launched the formal study that will give us a roadmap of this Vision 2030. And I now request the Honorable Minister to kindly launch the study by. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the moment we've all been waiting for. The Honorable Minister in charge Transport, Urban Development and Municipal Affairs and Housing Department, Government of West Bengal and Mayor of Calcutta. Now we have Honorable Parad Hakim sir giving his chief guest address. So.
Thank you. With me, there is my Principal Secretary, Transport Department, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Sinha. We just heard from Mr. A.K. Saxena, Senior Director, TRI. Here we have with us MD CESL, Mrs. Mohuma Acharya. We have with us the Vice Chairman of WBSTC, Dr. Mohajjan Hussain, and we have our MD, West Bengal Transport Corporation, Rajanveer Kapoor. The other friends here, the friends are from press and media. Yes, it was my commitment that by 2030, we have to take the challenge to transform our own city, Calcutta, with fully electric buses and reduce C2 emissions by 7.82 lakh tons and carbon monoxide emission by 1.7 million tons in each year. And it will not happen only by saying or having the program, attending seminars. It will not be possible for us. We have to take the challenge as we have taken in various occasions, that global carbon dioxide emission has bounced back after COVID-19. Restrictions are likely to reach close to pre-pandemic levels. Global carbon emissions from fossil fuel dropped by 4.5% in 2020 compared to the previous years. But we are yet to increase by 4.9%. We are here as from the Transport Ministry today that we are committed to make our program so that we can drop carbon emission and what we have committed, net zero transition of public transport system in city of Calcutta. But for that, we need infrastructure. As said by Mr. Sinha, that as of now, we don't have so much of infrastructure, so much of charging station, where the people can really afford to have an electric vehicle, or the government can have an electric vehicle and go wherever they think and have their charging stations there. For that, I have given the responsibility to Mr. Rajanveer Kapoor to locate the areas preliminary around Calcutta, around KMA area, where a bus goes to and fro, goes where and come back from where. So we should have adequate charging stations in and around Calcutta. Suppose 10 kilometers, at a distance of every 10 kilometers, we should have charging stations. And we should have adequate fast charging stations. Few years back, when I took oath as a mayor of Calcutta, CSC has installed 2 or 3 charging stations under the flyovers. But now I see that they are not in use. Because of that, they are not the fast charging stations. The people are there, when they bring their car out in the road, say they will not wait for 3, 4, or 5 hours to have the charges. So we need a charging station where half an hour, at least 45 minutes, we can recharge any vehicle, especially the buses and all. And for that, we have to create infrastructure. In Bengali, we say that ঘোড়া আসলে চাবুক এসে যাবে. If we buy a horse, the hunter will come. But now we need the hunter first, then the horse. That horse will be supplied by Madam Moa Acharya. But we need to create the infrastructure by then. And as far as the Calcutta is concerned, we had a very good e-mobility transport system, that is Calcutta tramways. And we are committed, wherever it is possible, we will reintroduce or at least keep that trams. Though we have only 7% of roads in Calcutta, running tram through the slow, making congestion and lead to passive congestion emission. But we have to keep the heritage and the modern transport systems too. So we have to do that. And we have to plan according to that we will have the tramways there where the congestion is not happened. Suppose in Chitpur, if we start the tram, then more and more congestion in the Bada Bazar area will be created. So not that area, but in some areas where it will not be the reason of consumption, we have to do that. The second thing is that we will have to take the challenges that we have taken. We have already talked that the West Bengal government has announced exemption of registration fees on motor vehicles, other vehicles, two-wheeler, four-wheeler, electric vehicles, all category of CNG operated vehicles from April this year, until it will continue on 31st of March 2024. So the government has supported our cause. The finance department of our government has supported that. And in this regard, we had an elaborate discussion with our Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee, that we need to have a quality air in this city. And for that, we have to do that. Of course, now the problem of price of diesel, it is not feasible for including the West Bengal Transport Corporation to operate the buses with the losses, huge losses in every trip. They are consuming huge losses there also. For that also, we have to convert it to electric vehicles and to CNG too. Just for your information, it is not about the discussion now, but I am also heading Urban Development and Municipal Affairs Department. And we have also made it mandatory to have 2% of parking space should be allotted for charging electric vehicles. In the new town, recently, I am also Chairman HITCO. There, the plot above 10 acres, we have compulsory this provision of 20% car parking lot have to be kept reserved for electric charging facilities. And for this, we will give them a exemption in FAR and ground coverage calculations. So we are trying our best to have this mission of zero emission, making it successful. But thing is that of course, main thing is finance. We need huge finance for that. And just now, our Secretary Rajesh Sinha ji has told that as India does not produce lithium battery, actually we are blackmailed now. The present producer of lithium battery are blackmailing us. We are talking about made in India, but unfortunately, the most precious thing now in the world is lithium battery. And we don't have the resources for that. or any government to government, any agreement for that. There's those who have the lithium can supply in a reasonable rate to us in India. And for that, we are suffering, the people are suffering, and our air quality is getting better to better every day. So these are the things that just now I was talking to Mohua regarding that three-wheeler electric vehicles, which is in need now, in a bad need now. But we don't have policies. The banks are blackmailing. Now they are charging around 15 to 20% per annum for financing the three-wheelers for the three-wheeler operators. These are the type that now chance mila to loot lo. It is, for the nation, it is bad. And we have to make sure that as we have committed green mobility category in Copenhagen, low carbon communicate transfer project. So we have to do that. And we have received already the only city we have received this South Asian, the only city in South Asia that received a Gold Award for our effort. So I was not a transport minister at that time, but I have received that award from Copenhagen and I have handed over to our Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee. But now we are really very sincerely, we are trying to do that, and I expect that my department will give all their effort for building up the infrastructure. And now it seems that we can keep our commitment much before 2030. So all your cooperation is needed, and as a team, as together, we can fulfill that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We all will try very hard to fulfill that this dream is realized. On behalf of the West Bengal Transport Corporation, sir, each driver, each conductor, staffs, officers, and the team of Terry, sir, we thank you. And thank you all for attending this seminar, dignitaries on and off the dais. Thank you for sparing your day. And so we all hope we'll achieve this. Sir.
Thank you.